right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Love, Death, and Movies. This is episode 23, and I am here joined by my nice Australian co-host here, Harry. How you doing, Harry?
G'day. No, I'm good.
G'day, mate.
I'm really good. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm excited to talk about what we're about to talk about. How are you?
Ooh, mysterious.
Uh,
I'm good as well. It's again another Friday for me, so I can't complain about the end of the work week, of course. So
yeah.
I'm happy to be here. Today we are talking about another sports movie, of course, because March is our sports movie month. And this is one that we were supposed to do a couple of weeks ago. I know we confused some people, so we are sorry about that. But we finally did do our episode now on Remember the Titans. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to walk through the movie. But before we get into that, how's your week been? What's been going on? Anything exciting over in your land?
There's always something exciting over here. There's always something trying to kill us. Uh, yeah, good week, real good week. My highlights were I went to a media screening for Monkey Man, comes out in a couple weeks,
So
and
jealous.
I have not been able to stop speaking about this movie. I saw reviews online, didn't love it, but everyone in my cinema and everyone in South by Southwest unanimously agreed this is a whole lot of fun. Like, I don't want to. I don't know. There's this giant cult following for Doom Part Two, which rightfully so. It's a masterpiece of a film. It's brilliant. I'm more excited to see Monkey Man again than I am see Doom Part Two. But that's just not saying that it's a better movie or anything. Just sheer entertainment value. I had such a joy. So go check out my TikTok review for it. But other than that, no, I had a couple nights out with my company, which was good. Business. The Swannies. I'm a AFL supporter. The Sydney Swans. Cracking start to the year. First two teams we versed were two like awesome teams. The team we versed last night were the premiers last year, the champions in whatever you call it in America. The champions. What do you call the Super Bowl champion? Champions. Yeah.
You're asking the wrong
Well,
person.
we're sports, month, Ash. You know.
I'm sorry. I don't know the actual term of people who I don't know,
The
the
winners of the
champions. Let's
entire,
go with
yeah,
it.
that makes sense, right? Yeah, we versed them last night on their home ground and embarrassed them, and it was awesome to see. And I could go on and on and on, but I'm proud of them. I'm so stoked. It's like I don't know. We're a giant sports culture, which I this is why I love this month. Australia is a giant sports culture that like it dictates our like mood and attitude for the remainder of the week. So I'm having the greatest weekend of my life right now. And I'm at 11:12 a.m. on a Saturday. Like it's only going to go up.
Love it.
But how about you? How was your week?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I've been really tired this week for some reason. I was not as motivated to work out or do those productive things, but that happens.
You
The
got to have
weather's
those
finally
weeks.
getting better though. It's very sunny today and it's supposed to be beautiful all weekend. Like I know I said last time it was like in the low 70s and you had to look that up. I think it's like low 20s Celsius, but it was just like sunny
Oh,
and tomorrow is supposed
20s.
to be like no
Oh,
wind.
right, Celsius. Good job.
So I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm going to try to go to the park, get outside, just do some productive things this weekend. But yeah, pretty normal week for me. Nothing exciting. I haven't gotten to go see a movie recently. I really want to see Love Lies Bleeding, but it's
Oh,
not
you're gonna
playing near
love it.
me.
You were going.
Yeah,
I remember I saw that movie a few weeks ago, and I came out of it. I think I messaged you and Marta, and I was like, "You guys are gonna fucking love this movie."
I'm ready for it, but I'm waiting for it to come to my town so that I can actually just like go over there on a weekend day real quick or evening or something and check it out. But hopefully soon.
I was quick. Sorry, just a quick 20-second tangent. I was talking to Marta. I was like about Love Lies Bleeding, and I was like, it's not identical, but there is themes of like similar to Drive. Did you know Marta
Mhm.
has a Drive tattoo?
Yeah, I knew.
That's awesome. And she's like, oh yeah, I got the, and she just sent me a photo. I'm like, what the fuck? That's
Yeah,
sick. Yeah,
she loves
mad.
that movie.
Yeah, shout out Marta.
So funny. I know. I need to get my drive tattoo, obviously, next as well. No, I'm just kidding. I don't love that movie enough to get a tattoo of it, but the Pulp Fiction tattoo, it's coming. It's
Are you
coming
gonna
at
do
some
the?
point this year.
Do you know what you're getting?
I'm definitely getting some version of Don't Be a Square with it
Yeah,
drawn instead
that's
of
really good.
written. But I just don't know if I want to like leave room for Mia and
Why
her
don't you
like
do like the
face in
don't?
some
You could
way.
do like the don't be a square. Like if you go
Yeah.
back, I know this isn't anything to do with Remember the Titans. If you
No.
go back and watch our review for Pulp Fiction, I've put the "Don't Be a Square Thing"
Hmm.
animation into it, and it's got Mia Wallace in it. You could do like that, and then
Yeah.
inside the square get like a silhouette of Mia and Vincent dancing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide if I'm the type of person who's going to have like people's bodies or faces on my body, or if it's just going to be like a words or shapes type of thing, you know? So I'm
I
still
feel that.
figuring myself out with tattoos.
Hey, no
But
pressure, no pressure.
all of that aside, let's get back into what we're talking about today. We hope you all enjoy our tangents as much as we do.
Yeah.
But we are talking about Remember the Titans, which came out in 2000. This was put out by Walt Disney themselves. I definitely remember watching this movie as a kid, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. So I honestly kind of felt like I was rewatching it for the first time, even though I remembered some of the core moments. But I'll run through the description. So, based on a true story, Remember the Titans goes as follows. After leading his football team to 15 winning seasons, Coach Bill Yost is demoted and replaced by Herman Boone, tough, opinionated, and as different from the beloved Yost as he could be. The two men learn to overcome their differences and turn a group of hostile young men into champions. Wow. Would you look at that, Harry?
Yeah, it only took 8 weeks.
Only. So before I get into it, I have this broken down into 8 parts, which seems to be the theme of most of our episodes. Eight
Yeah, it's
parts
around
just
there.
seems to be the magic number. I will just ask for your general thoughts, I guess, on this movie. What's your relationship to this movie? When was the last time you maybe remember watching it before this?
So this is like a movie of my childhood. I've always loved this movie. I think the latest rewatch, I think I brought it down point 0.5, but it's still like a great movie for me. I just feel like I don't know, just because I've gotten a bit older and I'm watching it, I'm like, it's a little bit too cliche for it. But the best thing about this movie, I think, other than the themes of racism isn't good, that's obviously the best part. But the other best part, I would say, easily is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is
Yes.
disgusting. So, like, the main connection with this film that I have is always like family road trips because we'd always have the soundtrack of Remember the Titans, and we put it on and be like, "Ain't no mountain high enough." It's so good. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I think this is just such a. It's one of those movies that is so um, how can I say this? Inoffensive in a way that like it's there's no way that someone's gonna watch this and be like, I didn't like Remember the Titans. If they did, they should be put on a federal watch list. But like you know what I mean? It's like it's such a simple sort of feel good film, but it also has some pretty great messaging behind it, and I just love Denzel so much. Also, I adore Ryan Gosling, so he's awesome. And Donald Faison. This movie is stacked, by the
Yeah.
way. It's quietly stacked. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, Ryan Gosling's all right, I guess. Um,
I'm just
Nice.
kidding.
Yeah, I think your relationship with it is a bit different than mine. I definitely remember watching it maybe a time or two when I was younger. And then probably like the last time I remember seeing it is probably like high school. So I
Right.
genuinely hardly remembered any like specific scenes. I just knew what the general premise was. And I remember a couple of the like key football moments. And the soundtrack, obviously, I remember there being a lot of like fun music, but I don't have much of a relationship with this movie. I just remember thinking that it was like a great like family story, a great, story to share with the world. Obviously, I kind of forgot it was a true story to be honest until this rewatch. I was like, "Oh yeah, duh." So I think in that sense it feels very Disney 2000, if that makes sense. Like this feels exactly like something that Disney would have put out at that time. So I think in that sense, it really fits for what they were kind of doing at the early 2000s, late 90s. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it is like feel good in a lot of moments. It's obviously very inspirational in a lot of moments, and you get a lot of great life lessons, learning how to work with others that are different from you in more ways than one. And obviously, young people kind of learning lessons and having to grow and work together. There's a lot of things like that. But I feel like as you get older, some of that messaging doesn't really hit the same way. So it did hit a bit
Exactly.
different than
Yeah.
when I was younger. So I'll say that. But I didn't dislike my experience with it. I think it was still a really special movie and still obviously, a great one to rewatch from a different perspective of like more of an adult perspective. So yeah, we can get into part one.
Hell yeah.
Don't judge me for my titles of these parts, Harry, because I'm
I
not as
always will.
creative and witty as you are.
I
Okay.
always will. I always will.
All right. Part one, where it all begins.
I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
Thank you. Appropriate. I would have given it a 4 out of 10, but thank you. Okay, they
So
open in Virginia, 1981, to a funeral and a voiceover of, we don't know who at this exact moment, a girl talking about how football was everything in this area. And she goes on to share that at this point in time, before this, it was no race mixing until 1971, until we could have black and white schools combined, and the first one being T.C. Williams High School. And then we flash directly forward to 1971 and we come to a street riot. We kind of see a lot of chaos that's going on in this town. And it's actually the end of the school year. So we're kind of going to be leading into the summertime. So people are sort of rioting because of this news that was announced that will be coming for the new school year. So we get to see football practice, and this is where we meet Coach Yost. Also, cannot believe Hayden Panettiere was so little in this
yeah,
movie.
she's great
Um,
in this as well.
she
She's
was
so
my
good.
childhood. I mean, I remember seeing her in
Heroes.
so much stuff, and it's so like weird to see her as just like a little tiny kid. So yeah, we get to meet Yost and her. She's on the sidelines. She's kind of like acting like she's mini coach, watching these guys practice. And then we meet Herman Boone, the new coach, explaining that, he came to win. And of course, Yost is not happy about this, about losing his job. But Boone tries to explain to him that, like, he's just here to do a job. He wants to win, loves football. Like, he's not trying to step on anyone's toes. Obviously, this choice was made outside of his authority. Um, and so we kind of have the beginning of that sort of relationship not starting off well, obviously, because Yost is not happy about losing his job, as most people probably would not be.
Yeah,
Um, so we have Herman going to speak to Bill at his house. This is where the daughter answers, and she's all sassy, and she says something like, "He's busy applying for head coach positions, 11 offers, and certainly no time for you," or something like that. And I think it's so funny. She's just like got her dad's back from the beginning, no matter what.
I love it because there's like
Yeah.
I'm sure you got it in the notes. There's that little scene where I think it might be here where Boone's just like, don't you give her any dolls or something? He's like, I tried. She just likes football.
Yeah, I didn't write that down, but yeah, that's a great line as well.
That's awesome.
Um, so this is where we see Boone offer Yost a job in a sense, and he says that he doesn't really want to be like an assistant coach. He wants to lead his defense. And so they kind of, they talk about it, and Yost originally disagrees, and he tells the boys he's going to be taking a year off, and the players basically tell him that they won't play without him because they want to have his back, obviously, through and through. So this is where we flash to meeting Petey, Julius, and some of the other team members that are actually showing up to play. And we have Boone kind of roasting Petey, which I think is really like funny. It's kind of a nice little insight into his personality, talking about how football's fun, and he's like basically convincing him this is not fun. Like he's kind of telling him if you survive camp, then you can be on the team, but don't just come here to basically just think this is going to be a blast for you. It's going to be hard work essentially. So
Amen.
this I think confirms that Boone is really the type of person who thinks that you work hard to get things and not just like assume to you. Like he's not gonna give anybody anything just because of who they are, what they look like. Like you have to earn it in his book, no matter who you are. And I think this moment really showcases that. And also just showcases how hard he's going to be making them work, which we obviously will see very shortly.
For sure.
Um, so then at that point, we have the other original players starting to come in to the gym as well. And then we see Yost come through the door as well to join them. And so this is where we kind of have that final agreement where Boone will be the head coach. Yost is going to be, I think it's the leading defensive coordinator is kind of the title that they go with. And obviously Boone has his kind of like assistant coach he's already had. And then Yost convinces him to let him keep his kind of like right-hand man that he's always had. So it ends up kind of being like four guys that sort of coordinate to lead this team, with obviously Boone being the main head coach. And then this is where they prepare to go off to camp. Tensions are obviously high. This is the first time all of the boys are going to be together. And I love this moment. This is when Boone gets all the players off the buses, tells them they're going to mix all up and they're going to randomly, assign their seating and kind of just sit with someone they don't know. And he's like, yeah, and that's who you're going to be rooming with. So you better make your choice. And he doesn't let them pick anyone that they already knew or played with previously. So this is kind of his first attempt to really, shake things up and get these boys to see more than just color, which is kind of what they're originally seeing at the beginning. So that's the end of part one. And then we go into part two, bonding at boot camp.
7 out of 10. We're going high.
All right, I'm
We're going
making
better.
improvements.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So they arrive at camp. Um, we have the hardly ever used song, Spirit in the Sky. Never heard it before in a movie in my life, obviously. Actually, two songs in this movie are also used in Guardians 1, which I think is kind of funny.
Is that Ain't No Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Spirit in the Sky. So yeah, we get them arriving there to this camp, which I don't know if this is like a legit thing. Like, like in America, is this how it works? Like people just go off to these like away football camps like for two
I think
weeks
it
where they get to
is.
okay, news to me. Obviously, my brothers did not play football, so that's a new thing for me. But seems a little bit fancy, in my opinion. But I guess you got to train, you got to be focused, you got to be away from all the distractions.
Amen.
So we see Julius and Gary are rooming together, and Julius is hanging up a poster, and Gary isn't happy about this. They have this kind of nasty conversation about him taking it down, and they go back and forth. And I love when Julius tells him, like, you better use your X-ray vision than Superman. Like, basically, like, I'm not taking this down. And this is the first time these two really start fighting, and this is not the last time. But this is important. It signifies the constant battle between these two that ends up leading to a very close friendship. So this is kind of the beginning of really their relationship, and it's completely opposite by the end of the film, obviously.
Yeah.
Coach Boone tells them that when you put on the Titan uniform, you better come to work, indicating that he is expecting perfection from them and their game.
Perfection.
We get more into Louis. Can we also, here, I'll get to that in a minute, actually. But Louis gets called up by Coach Boone, and he says that, he's not going to college. He's not going to be an athlete. He just figured he might as well do something fun in high school and hit some people. He's just there to have a good time. He's honestly one of the most genuine from the beginning. Like he shows up before the other guys even show up in the gym in the previous section. Like
Yeah.
he's not even trying to be a part of that group. Like he just wants to be a part of something with people. I would say he's the one that's the most open-minded from the beginning.
Yeah. He's even just like sitting at the tables, like, why are you sitting here? He goes, this is defense, isn't it? Or like, this is offense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't see what the other boys see, which I think
No.
is really cool that they kind of have that type of representation
For sure.
in the group as well. I was just going to say, can we talk quickly about Ethan Suplee, or I
Suplee?
don't know how to pronounce it, his glow up? Have you seen what this guy
he
looks like
looks
now?
incredible now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well
Good
done.
for him.
Because I knew him, well, of course, from Remember the Titans. But did you ever watch My Name Is Earl?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was big in that. That's how I like.
He's been in a couple things.
Yeah, he's awesome though. He's great. He was in a movie that I saw lately. It'll come to my mind. Dog, the Channing Tatum film. That's what I'm thinking
Oh,
of.
gotcha. Yeah, he looks fantastic. So props to him. He probably worked so hard, and yeah, what a transformation.
Well
But yeah, I
done.
really like getting to know his character. And then they get told that they're going to be spending each day with another teammate of a different race and report back when they have met every single one of their teammates. This is another attempt by Boone to kind of get these guys to wake up a little bit and realize that they're going to have to learn to play together and that they need to expand their horizons a bit and open up their minds. So he's definitely not giving up on his attempts to get them to feel like a team, obviously. I love this little moment you get where the boys are all lined up like they're in jail making their phone call.
Yeah, it's
I think
so
that's kind
good.
of funny.
Love you. It's like
Yeah.
Petey.
Calling their
Petey.
girlfriends and calling their moms. But yeah, I thought that was just kind of a little funny moment to see them all lined up like that. Um, and then at practice, they kind of continue to be combative. So this is where we get more of Julius and Gary just really going against one another. We obviously see this multiple times during camp. And we eventually have Julius kind of telling Gary in that last moment that you'll never get to understand me. And that's sort of an interesting moment because obviously what comes next is very different than that. So I think they're both one of the same type of person, but have just lived very different lives. And they both, I think, are the most combative, the most resistant of both teams initially, which their transformation that they get to by the end is insane, considering. And then the last thing I have here, it's just kind of a funny thing. The line when he says water is for cowards, I wrote yikes. You should probably let children drink water, sir.
Yeah, they are children. Like at the end of the day, this is high school. Yeah. Very much.
Literally. Yeah. So this is where I had the end of that section. Obviously, we're not done with boot camp, but I'm going to kind of end it there for a sec and just kind of get your thoughts on the introduction to the coaches, the families, the boys, the town, the players, everything. Anything that stands out here, anything you really like in these first two sections.
Yeah, the biggest thing that stood out for me with the introduction of Boone is like you touched on it, how he has that interaction with Petey, and I think it's really important that he first did it with Petey.
Mm-hmm.
That it instantly shows you that like it doesn't matter the color of your skin. If you come not to work, you're gonna get roasted.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself already shows the kind of the message that he's trying to portray is like we're a team, doesn't matter. I like because I'm sure Petey came in and knew that he had a black coach and was just like in his like at least the movie version of Petey was like we're gonna have it easy, guys. We're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
like, we've finally got one up here. But it's obvious that Boone is there and he doesn't see color at all. He just sees a team and he's just there for victory, as he always says. He's like, I love to win,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. I love Yost as a character. Everyone around him is kind of like toxic as all hell and like the reason why the whole town is who they are. But Yost is very much like he's kind of the same as Boone. Where he's just there, he doesn't care about the color of skin. Again, he just wants to see this team succeed and he'll do anything. Like if he had as much pride as everyone else that around him, he wouldn't have taken this job.
Mm-hmm.
Even Boone wasn't lied about it. Like he when Yost is like, "What, you want me to work for you?" And Boone's like, "If that's the way you want to see it." It's he wasn't sugarcoating anything. Um, but I love that. I think that the relationship between Yost and his daughter is the best relationship in this entire film. I think it's so wholesome. I love that there's not like a little. I'm sure there's a backstory in real life. I love how you don't get this deep backstory between like Yost and his ex-wife or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the mother is, and anything like that. It's just like no, it's just a father and a daughter. I really really fuck with that. But this idea of getting him to a camp, which it's true that they did this, and it's also true that when Boone got them off the bus and made them combine. That's all a true story, but I think this is important to kind of get them away from the town, get them
Mm-hmm.
away from society, and really just like focus on the team itself, which is awesome. And as you said, like this camp's a whole lot of fun. I think we get to the Gettysburg stuff, but you can see
Yeah.
that Boone's a brilliant character, but he needs Yost, and I'm sure we get into this soon where Boone is too focused on victory in a way, and Yost is kind of there as like the touch of the humanity for him. When I think it's the water bit where he's doing the whistle, and it's just like constant burpees. Well, that's what we call them in Australia, like the push ups and then get up and do star jump stuff. Yeah, and he's just like he goes on. He's like they're kids, like give them water, and then like he
Yeah.
like does it. So I think they both really need each other for this. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yost needs Boone for like kind of entering this new world of integration. But then Boone needs Yost to kind of see humanity because on Boone's side already you kind of see like this world's broken him down a bit, and he's like not willing to let anyone in, and even just like his neighbors, like because you see stuff that happens to him at home. But then, like, eventually towards the end of the film, when the neighbors are like, "Oh shit, this high school team's like going well," and they start to like cheer him on, and you can see him start to appreciate the society. But like, yeah, I think it's a great start. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't have much more to add. I think you nailed all of it. Yeah, I think it mostly this serves to me as just kind of understanding where a lot of these characters' mindset is at as they're entering into this kind of new part of life where they're going to have to figure out how to, make it work and find balance within all of it. And then, like you said, I think it just really showcases the difference between these two coaches. And I think, in a way, it's a little unexpected. Maybe when you're going into it, you kind of think, Yost, if he's this much of a champion coach, he must be a hard ass. He must be just like the biggest dick in the world, But then you kind of come to find like how caring he is and how, like you said, he brings that humanity aspect. And it's not really expected, from someone who maybe has that role and that title in town. So I think they both serve a really strong purpose. And I think that's why they end up working so well together by the end. But yeah, I think here we kind of get to really get a taste of, I guess, more of the hard side of Boone. And I think at camp is really where you get to see that more clearly. And so we'll get more into that. I'll go into part three. 'Cause this is really the heart of being at camp. Part three, the making of champions.
I'm gonna
All
give
right.
that an
And
8. That's an 8. That's the best one so far.
see, I'm just, eventually I'm going to get to like a 13 out of 10 because you're just going to keep going up.
I hope so, Ash. I can't give you a
I
definite
hope so
here, but
too.
I'm hoping.
All right. So this is where we have um, Yost telling Boone, like, Coach, it's a high school football team.
Yeah,
We're not the Marines here.
that's
It's,
the point. That's it. Yep.
yeah. So this is where he has the boys basically spend the whole night out in the dark and go running in the rain as a punishment, which is just so brutal. I mean, like they're kids, it's just they're trying, even though they're kind of being combative. So it is a bit hard to watch them have to do something like that. But this is where they end up at Gettysburg, where he tells them that 50,000 men died on the field fighting the same fight that they're still fighting to this day. I think this moment really serves as inspiration for them. I feel like this moment gives a lot of the boys perspective. And I think after this, a lot of them, you kind of see them start to shift in their mindset and in the way that they're acting. So I think that moment is really important. And obviously, they play like some kind of soft music over it. And I think it's a really pivotal moment for the team as a whole. Then we have Boone telling them, if we don't come together right here in this hollow ground, you too will be destroyed, which I think is one of the more
Oh,
powerful
what a
things that he
line!
tells them in the movie. So I really like that scene. I think it's one of the more like inspirational ones. I think some of the other things that are said like in the locker room are a bit cheesy from my point of view. So I
Oh,
really
for
like this
sure.
one. It feels much more authentic, and I think the
It's
boys really absorb it
brutal,
well.
is what it is. That's
Yeah.
how I describe it. It's fucking brutal.
Well, when you involve like the idea that they're going to a place where people actually like fought and died, it makes it feel more like real. Like the impact's more real.
That's
Versus
like
like
that's kind of, sorry to cut you off. That's
that's
kind
okay.
of like you mentioned, like they're high school and this is like too tough in a way. But I would also I think I would agree with you, but at the same time I understand why Boone is doing this so much, like so hard, because this is like an a thing that's like ingrained in their society. So they have to
Hmm.
like physically and manually grind this shit out of them. So like that's
Right.
kind of why I see him being so fucking hard and brutal on them. But yeah, at the same time, like they're kids. But yeah,
Right. No, I agree. And I think because there's more at stake. This isn't just football at stake. It's more than that. So he kind of, I
it's
think, feels
life.
this sense of pressure to be hard on them because it's a reality check, for a lot of them. But yes, they are children, so it is a
They
bit
are
tough.
children.
But what can you do? Okay, so we then kind of move to more practice where we see them kind of starting to sort of motivate one another and having a little bit of fun together for the first time at camp. Here's where we enter our new player. His dad comes in with
Sunshine.
him. Yeah, and we get him being hit by a ball from Gary, and they call him a fruitcake because obviously he's just one of them hippies from California, just like me. I love a hippie from California.
Hey, they're cool. They're
Um,
cool, man. They're cool.
yeah, they are. All these goddamn hippies. Sorry, I'm not going to go into cliches right now. Um, they make assumptions about him, even though they don't know anything about his sexual orientation. It's never confirmed in the film, but they just make assumptions based on his long hair, based on the way he, looks and dresses. So this is kind of, again, this is another type of prejudice that is existing in this town and these people's minds, for Sunshine even too. And it's something that kind of takes them a while to really get comfortable with him. So one thing I really hate that I think is pretty sad is they make him cut his hair to play. I think
It's
it's
like
very
it's a very military thing, isn't it? Don't you
it
reckon?
is. It's very typical of the time. It's
Yeah.
not surprising, but they make fun of him. They nickname him Sunshine, which I think is a great nickname.
It's an
Honestly, he looks
awesome
like
nickname.
Sunshine.
I would love that nickname, to be honest. Sunshine's a
Yeah,
great nickname.
it's great. May not be for the best reasons they do it, but it's great.
Yeah.
So this is where we have the locker room bonding happening. They're telling yo mama jokes.
Oh
We all
yeah.
love a good bonding over yo mama jokes. I
Yeah.
think it's Louis has one of the best ones about like it's like involves like
Petey's
weight.
mum.
I
Yeah.
didn't write it down,
He's
but
like comes in holding his back. He's like, "Yo,
yeah.
you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I just gave your mama a piggyback ride. And she weighs twice as much as I do."
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. This is where they're singing "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" together.
Oh yeah.
Classic guy stuff, right?
Oh, that's all. That's what we do. It's
Yeah.
all we do.
I think. And then we have, one of my favorite moments I have to highlight, Harry. I'm sorry, but
No,
we have
no,
Ryan
highlight.
Gosling singing this song, dancing around like a dork, highlight of the movie for me personally.
I'm
But
just Ken. Yeah.
no, hold on. Don't interrupt my joke, Harry. Okay, I have a
Oh,
great
did my
joke
bad?
now.
Sorry, continue.
It's
Sorry.
not that, but
Go
he may
ahead.
have started as Alan,
He,
but he was meant to be Ken. Okay.
okay, I'm gonna
Listen,
raise. I had you at an 8 going into here. It's an 8.5 already.
thank you.
That's a mid-stage increase.
Appreciate
That's never
that.
been done in the history of the
Never,
sport. Wow,
never. And of
wow.
course, I had to announce my joke, so it just adds to the comedic value of it.
Yeah.
You know.
I was ready to
But yes,
laugh, once he
I,
announced it.
I had to include an Alan Ken joke because, come on, his name is Alan. Like,
Yeah,
what are the
that's
odds of
that's
that?
really good. I didn't even
So,
notice that.
anyways,
That's
after
good.
we get past the locker room shenanigans, we have Cheryl telling Coach Boone at the lunch table that she approves of some of his coaching skills out there. Very important to get a sign of approval from a 5-year-old. And then she tells him, I'm 9.5,
I'm 9.5. Thank you
which
very
is kind of
much.
crazy. Like, come on, she's not 5, dude. You have 2 kids of your own. You know she's not
Also,
5.
she's giving you respect. Like,
She
I
is.
didn't like that at all from him, to be honest, because
Yeah.
Yost is there, and his daughter is like saying good work. Even if you don't take it seriously, she's a child. Just be like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and then just move on with your
Yeah.
life. Yeah, I didn't like
Yeah. I
that.
can't tell if he's like meant to build this sort of sarcastic banter with her or if it's actually meant to be like he's sort of like offended. I can't quite tell at this point in the
I think
movie,
it's
but it
still
could kind of be one or the other, I
I
guess.
think it's still his guard is up, and I think for
Yeah.
her it drops when she goes over to her house, to his house, and like instead of playing with his daughter with like dolls, she's just watching football with him, and I think that's when he's
Yeah.
like, I get it, sort of
Nice.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so the end of this section is the guys head home from camp. They're more bonded. They're feeling better than ever about the team. This is a crucial moment in the story, I think, as things won't be exactly the same when they arrive back home from camp, as you mentioned earlier. This sort of serves as an escape where the outside world battles and difficulties don't exist the same
Amen.
way, which you also kind of already mentioned earlier. So at this point, I'm going to stop at this part because the next two kind of go together.
Yep.
I've already said everything I kind of have to say about camp, but is there anything else that you think kind of stands out here? Any favorite scenes from this chunk?
Yeah, left side, strong side, left side, strong side. I love everything about this. I love when wait, is it a camp that it's Gary, right? Gary Bertier,
Mhm.
where Gary Bertier has a go at his mate because he didn't block, and was it a
With
camp?
with Ray.
I think
That
so. No, yeah, I think it's Ray. Yeah, Ray. Ray's the guy that he cut, which was his mate at the beginning.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And all the coaches like, whoa, just let them do this, and it was kind of like a breakthrough for Gary, of like again, kind of going towards Boone's sort of mindset of just like, doesn't matter who you are or what color your skin is. If you fuck up, you're gonna get told,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get a receipt. I thought that was like one of the highlights for me of that. I'm pretty sure that's in camp, right? I'm pretty sure it's towards the end
Yeah,
of
I think
camp.
you're
Yeah,
right because I didn't mention all the like specific football
yeah.
moments when they're practicing, but I think that is during
Like,
one of
because
the
I
practice.
think they had to have had to. Yeah, it's either there or like a practice off, but it's definitely in camp. It has to be in
It
camp.
is because that's the first time him and Ray kind of have like a
Like a
tiff, and then it kind of just continues from there.
yeah. Yeah, no, I love this camp, and you could see by the end of it, like even just them driving in and they're all singing on the bus, and all the parents just like, what did they do to them? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, and like as you mentioned, like rightfully so, Ash, like how important this was to get them away from the town, like because they could all do this during practice at high school, but then they'd be going home and being brainwashed more.
Hmm.
Um, so for them to come home, I think is really good, and there's like a good little like kind of like soul shattering moments.
Yeah.
When they get home, when like Gary's girlfriend doesn't even shake the hand of Julius, and then you got like all the parents that are just like being absolute pieces of shit. But yeah, I'm excited to get into the games.
Well, really quick, part four is back to reality. So you kind of touched on a
Gonna give us
couple.
7.5. All right, that's all
Yeah,
right.
I warned you. Um, So here we're back. This is where the actual school year is starting now. We get back to the high school. There's still many picketing parents. They're against the combination of the school still. And it's just so rough to see. Yeah, it's definitely jarring to be watching, even
Yeah.
though I know it's like supposed to be 50 years ago. It's still rough. So we
Still,
have the
it's
first day of
still the
school.
70s. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
That's
Um,
This was after 2001: A Space Odyssey.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's cool. That's
That's
cooked.
true. So yeah, we're getting back to the first day of school. They're all joined together for the first time. Coach Boone finds out that if he loses a game, he'll lose his job. So this kind of raises the stakes. This kind of changes things. And then we get into game number one. So this is where we get that one speech where he's sort of ends it with the football field out there. That's our universe. Let's rule it like Titans. I like that one.
Oh, let's go.
That's a good one. So this is where also Yost and Petey have that talk. So Boone is really hard on him during the game, and he's just not really motivated by the yelling. So he tells Yost, just that doesn't motivate me. Like it just frustrates him. I think kind of makes him not, feel discouraged. And so this is where he tells him he wants him to play defense for him and replace Allen. So he actually ends up going into the game. Obviously, game works out well. They win. The boys all go out together after the game, and this is where we see the girlfriend and her friends, including Ray, all in the car together. They want Gary to come with them, and he's trying to get them to come hang out with everybody. And they're like, "No, we don't want to do that." And this moment where the girlfriend tells him that he's got his priorities mixed up. This is really important because this is where I think Gary really starts to he's questioning himself. Like, am I doing something wrong? And it's he knows he's not, but he's got people in his ear kind of convincing him that he's got the wrong priorities, which is obviously so untrue. Obviously, they have the wrong priorities, which Emma does come around later and does mention that. Like I said, I was actually going to get into that next. I guess I should read my own notes. This is important because Emma will later realize that she was wrong and come to her senses.
She
And
just
we even had
shakes her
that
hand and
nice,
raises
yeah,
them solved,
handshake moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well
exactly.
done.
Which, as you mentioned, she previously declined to do.
Yeah.
So I think this is really important, just this in general, them all trying to go out and celebrate together because where I'll end this section is when Sunshine tries to take them to like a diner to go hang out together and the owner declines them. And Petey gets really frustrated. They all leave. And this is like a moment where they're trying to explain to him, like, you wouldn't have even thought of this because it doesn't affect you the way that it affects us. Like, you don't even have to think about where you go out to eat. You can just go wherever you want.
Yeah.
So this moment is really where for me at least, I feel like this is where it was brought back to reality. Even though the boys feel more equal to each other as players now, society does not see it that way.
Yeah.
At
We're
all.
not in camp anymore. Well, I think
Nope.
yeah.
Exactly. So that's the end of part 4. Part 5. Can the Titans make it?
We're back up to 8.5. We're back up.
Yes. I'm making it, all right?
Yeah.
By the end, you're going to say 10, I swear.
Oh, maybe. I hope to. I'm biased.
We'll see.
Unbiased.
Okay, so we have Alan's dad being very upset in typical dad fashion, thinking that his son is just the absolute best. That he was taken out of the game, even though he was taken out fairly.
Yeah.
And this really shows the blinders that some of these parents have for their children, obviously, which this happens in sports all the time where parents develop a blinder for their
yeah.
child, obviously.
It's my brother with his 7-year-old son in basketball at the moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's just a natural reaction, I think, of
Yeah, of
course.
course.
But even Alan's starting to realize that he knows that there's a better player than him. And, he eventually starts to get to the point where he's actually encouraging being put out of the game. Yost tells Boone that some of the boys don't respond well to public criticism. And Boone tells him that he's not doing them any favors by patronizing them. So here we kind of still have that dispute between these two that we were talking about earlier, where, they have very different methods of how they want to approach things. And, Yost thinks Boone's being a bit too hard. Boone thinks that maybe Yost is kind of coddling them a bit too much or not teaching them a real good lesson by, always supporting them the way that he does. Then we have game number 2. This is where Julius tells Gary he knows that he was going to stand him up because they were supposed to spend some time together in the earlier chunk of the movie.
That's
We were
right.
talking about part 4.
And the mum's like, no.
The mom, yeah, kind of gets in his ear. I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. But the mom gets in his ear. And so Gary gets very dismissive with him. This is where we kind of see Gary again, like I mentioned, battling that like inner demon of like, am I doing something
Yeah,
wrong?
that makes sense for sure.
And because he is so heavily influenced by his parents, he kind of decides to hold off on building that bond with Julius at this time,
Yeah,
and is really feeling pressured. And I think he feels pressure in other ways, obviously, from like originally being kind of the star of the team and like even the high school star of the town in a sense before all of this. So he just has a lot of pressure on him. Coach Boone comes to visit Yost at his house once again. This is where he brings him some game plans, and this is where he brings his daughter for the first time, and the girls get to kind of interact. You get to really see how different the two of them are,
I love them
obviously.
together.
You have really like girly girl likes to play with dolls, and then you have, the just through and through tomboy
Yeah,
that just wants to talk
look
football.
who's talking. I
She's
love
so
them.
cute. And then this is after we go to a scene where Cheryl's actually over at their house. So we kind of get to see where Cheryl has almost kind of accepted Boone now. And she's not so, against him at this point. She's actually at their house hanging out. The girls are sort of hanging out together, but really she's more hanging out with Boone, talking
Yeah,
plays and giving him opinions on football while the daughter plays dolls. He tells her, she should play, and she says she hates playing with dolls. I think it is a little bit funny here for me. It does feel like they're trying to push this like traditional tomboy football dad kid a little bit too hard. Like it
yeah,
felt
it does
maybe
seem a
a little bit
little.
forced at
Yeah,
some points, but I get it. I mean, it's adorable. I love their relationship, but it does get to feel a little bit cheesy at some moments where
yeah,
it's just like they're trying a little too hard. But maybe she was really like that, the real life person. So I can't judge it too hard.
yeah.
This is when we then have that kind of first scene of where something really bad is happening. And this is where someone throws something through his window when the girls are there scaring the kids. And then kind of in between Boone and Yost talking about what happened here, you have Gary and Julius kind of coming together with the team, and they all come to the gym and kind of have like a pep talk together, and really try to get on the same page and kind of figure out like what are things going to look like how are they going to do this for the rest of the season. And then you have Boone telling the press after someone threw a brick through his window that they can come visit him anytime. He is not afraid. Like he's like, come find me. And then Yost tells him he needs to kind of stop and set a better example for the students, again showcasing their differences of how they kind of handle difficult situations. But then we have this great scene of Boone telling Yost that, yeah, you're so worried about your daughter and how my reaction is. Like maybe you're finally getting a taste of what I go through and what my life is like on a regular basis. And so I think that's really crucial in kind of getting a further look into Boone and like why he is the way he is. Like he's hard
Exactly.
because life's been hard on him.
Society's broken
Um,
him down.
yeah, exactly. And so he's got this big wall up, and I think Yost kind of finally maybe gets a little inkling of that and gets to kind of understand that fear. So that's the end of part 5. So I'll stop here. If you want to talk about anything that you like a lot here, or just in general, kind of what you think about the progression of Yost and Boone's relationship, as well as the players, because a lot of them, I'm not obviously talking about every little scene, but
Mm.
a lot of the boys are kind of starting to build like nice friendships throughout this chunk of the movie as well.
Yeah, you can kind of see little cliques of like,
Hmm.
yeah, you've got like Gary Bertier, Gary and Julius, and then you got like all the like the offensive line or the
Hmm.
defensive line, which is cool to see. Yeah, you mentioned a few times that like Boone and Yost always have these bickerings and back and forths, but at no point do I see it disrespectful. Like at
Hmm.
all times, they always respect each other, but they just have, as you said, they've got different methods of coaching, and they very much like that. That's how they butt heads. It's not like a you're wrong, I'm right. It's just like a how about you try this, how about you try this, like sort of thing. Like it's never a point where it's like this is why I love Yost so much, because at the end of the day, like it's not Boone's call, but Boone came and took his job. But at no point does he like use that against Boone at all, which I really
Hmm.
respect. Like because they could have easily done that, and that wouldn't have been a bad story point. It would just been a bit like
Yeah.
cliche. But that's what I really love it. But yeah, we've mentioned this, like them coming back to the town is so pivotal, and like the scene where they go out to the diner and you see and you mentioned that like this is where Gary kind of is like questioning like which side he's on. It also shows he's questioning everyone around him. Like even him just like walking away from that car, you can see that like he's that's his old life, and he's kind of like walking away from it because I was
Hmm.
like and he's like pleading with them. It's like just come hang out with us, like we're over here. But But yeah, you can see the town is slowly but surely turning because they're like, oh shit, we're starting to win. All right, let's
Yeah.
let's start accepting these people. All right, if we're gonna win some high school football games, let's start accepting people. But yeah, no, I love these scenes.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Yeah. No, I think you said it best. I think I feel the same. And I think that it really makes the next chunk of the movie, like it really just like builds up this like town excitement and just like all this work they've put in up
Yeah,
until this point kind of starts to like really pay off. So
it's also a good
yeah.
point to mention, like it kind of looks like a fantasy of how much this town is obsessed with
Hmm.
football, but like country America is the sporting capital of the world in a way, right? Like in terms of football, like I'm not a big NFL fan. I watch every now and then, but like college football is enormous in America, and that like it kind of really needs to be touched on with this because I kind of understand it. Like this whole small town in rural America is just all revolving around this high school football team. If there was a college there, they would have probably all been revolving around that college football team. It's like
Hmm.
that's the thing that they have. This town is identified for TC Williams High School, the football team, which in the NFL a lot of NFL players have come from. So like they're like born to be they born and breed like professional football players. So yeah, I can't. I under like it does from the outset look like a fantasy world in a way. That's just like how is this whole town obsessed with it? But like, it's a rural town. They're not
Oh,
like
it's
a
100% accurate. It's not even, it doesn't even matter if it's rural. I mean, it's like any kind of southern state
yeah
in America,
football.
football is life.
Yeah,
Like high school football, college football, it does not matter. Like that's just how it is. And even in some of the bigger cities, it's like that. But you're right. I think in some of those more rural spots, it's just it's what they have to live for. Like
that's
it's
it.
just
Yeah,
something
perfect
that they
way.
all can agree on. And
Perfect way
so
to put it.
it just ends up kind of being a catalyst for bringing people together.
Amen. Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. Ash.
Love
Finally, we
it.
can agree on something. Jeez.
Finally. Well, let's see if we can agree on my next title.
Here we go.
Uh, part six. We are the Titans, the
Okay, well,
mighty, mighty
it
Titans.
was at 9, and then you said the second part 9.5. We're
Okay.
getting there.
Okay. I'm coming up, people. I'm coming up in the world. Okay. So we start here with game number three. This is where they have their fun new way of entering the stadium together. So this is the scene that I 1000% remember. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this like is ingrained in my brain. This is what I
Yeah.
associate with this movie is this scene. So we have the infamous scene of them doing the "We Are the Titans" chant and dance on the field. Iconic, just forever.
Amen.
Hopefully, one day my children will know this moment. I just think that it's one of those like things. If you've seen this movie, like that's what you think of.
I
I feel
love how
like.
they tell Boone about it. It's like they're like, Coach, we got to wait that we're going to start the game.
Mhm.
Like they don't. They're like, we've already figured this out.
Yeah, no, they don't show anybody. That's like the first time where everyone is seeing it for the first time, which
So
is
good.
fantastic. So yeah, after that great little number, we get into the game, and this is where Sunshine gets put into the game. This is after Ray misses a play. And so coach kind of tells him like your team is relying on you and you got to make this play. You got to get it done. He does it like a pro. He's one of like the best players. Can we just acknowledge that for
Yeah.
just a second? Like he is amazing. And crowd goes wild. Like they win the game. It's like such a big moment. It's fantastic where we don't fully know in the moment, at least I didn't fully catch it, that like Ray was doing something on purpose to mess up. But obviously, we then have Gary coming to speak with Coach Boone in private, and this obviously confirms it. I don't know enough about football, so maybe I just didn't understand that. But he comes and tells him that he wants Ray off the team because he knows he missed that play on purpose. And then he actually tells Ray to his face that like he's the reason that he got cut because he's like, Coach doesn't cut people. And then he's like, yeah, I'm the reason that you're getting cut because I know that you did that on purpose.
I think this is where Boone really respects him.
Mhm,
That like you could tell at the beginning,
100%.
like he like what's it Bertier like demanded respect from Boone, and that's not how
Yep.
Boone's world works. You earn it. And this point where he's just like, we need him out, and then he's just like, cool, you're the captain, do it. And he did it himself. I think that's the moment where Boone's like, yeah, he is the captain.
Yeah, this is the first moment that Gary has like fully stepped up and
Yeah,
like been a true leader and like done the right thing. So I think it's a great moment for his character arc, obviously, which it's hard to say character arc because he's a real person in real life, obviously, but in the movie, for that sense, great for his character arc. This really ends their friendship at this point, and I think Gary realizes here, just how important it is to be like an honest, true person, and that's much better than, trying to go against what you want to do and just doing what people expect you to do. We then get this great moment of Julius coming over to meet Gary's mom because they finally just have accepted their friendship. And she just gives him a big hug, which I think is just great. Did winning 3 games before that, kind of help open her mind? I don't know. Or does she finally just want to try to support her son? We'll never know.
In
But
a
it is a
three
sweet
week
moment.
span, she said, "Don't hang out with him." To come
Mhm.
here, give me a cuddle. Like 21 days.
That's the part where, like, with this movie, things start to feel really unrealistic. But it's like it's a true story, so I'm trying to like make like myself just believe it because I'm like, oh, it must have happened. But some of it just seems so unrealistic to
Yeah.
me, like that moment. But their hug is really sweet through the window.
Yeah.
And then this is where we move into that like song montage, video camera style footage where it looks like the equivalent of like if someone took like, real life camcorders back then and was like recording it all. And we kind of flash through them winning a bunch of games. This is where the town just continues to hype up and really be excited. And the guys are obviously so excited. And we have this amazing song playing in the background. Long, cool woman in a black dress. So good.
That
It's
is
so
really
good.
good. That is
I
really
got so
good.
distracted in the moment. I was just listening to the song that I like honestly didn't even catch all the shots that they were playing because I was just like this song is too good. The way they shot this, I think, definitely makes it feel even more like, oh, this is a true story. Like it
Yeah.
kind of brings you back to like the reality of, oh, this is like based on real people. Okay, yeah, like that's right. Because up until this point, you kind of forget you're just like not watching like a regular fictional movie. So I think this kind of moment serves as like, I think it's good that they did this because having to go through 6 more games would have taken up way too much time.
Yeah.
So I think
They
doing
had
this
to.
little montage, yeah,
It
it,
would
it
have
worked.
also made like the victories just seem so a little
Yeah,
bit more meaningless. So like
yeah,
you got to
hundred
highlight
percent,
some ones and then like just montage the rest.
100%, yeah. So this is where the season's almost over, and Yos is at this event. I'm not sure exactly what the event's called, but he's basically not with Boone. He's just there with like a bunch of football and like local people, and they basically tell him that they'll make sure they don't go undefeated, so that Boone can be let go and that he can have his moment to be put back in his place of coach. I think this is a moment where you can really tell that for him, he's torn morally. I think
Mm-hmm.
he is like, oh, this would benefit me, but like it's not right. You can
Mm-hmm.
just kind of see the look on his face there that he's not feeling good about it. Part 7. Remember the night you play the Titans.
Oh, this is a
Remember.
10. This is a 10. Remember the night you played the Titans.
All right. So we enter the regional championship game where they are purposely trying to make Coach Boone look bad, having the ref make bad calls. Again, like I said, they're trying to make it look like they are going to lose. So they're having this ref make bad calls on purpose, is what I would assume. Yost knows this, obviously. So he goes and tells the ref that he'll go to the papers, go to the media if he doesn't start calling fair. He knows he's trying to throw it, and the ref tells him he can dig his own grave. Um, so he's just in that moment, you can just tell he's motivated to fucking win this thing. He doesn't give a
Is this
shit
when he says the
anymore.
speech?
Yost.
Yeah. This is my favorite quote in the entire film.
No, well, I don't. Maybe I'm missing what you're talking about. So go ahead and. 'Cause I
The
don't have too much
the
to
I don't want to
quote.
gain them and I don't want them to gain another yard. Is that
No, yeah, I didn't have that on my notes. So
where little window into my life. I'm a gamer, of course, and like almost every session that me and my friends play, we're about to like drop into a game or something, and we always like say this one quote to pump everyone up. Where it's like, I don't want them to gain another yard. You blitz all night. If you cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans. So good. Oh,
yeah,
let's
it's great. I
go.
can't believe I didn't write that down. It's just hard to write down all the quotes because there's so many good
That's why.
ones.
That's why I'm here.
But yeah,
That's why I'm
that's a
here.
great one.
Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely great moment. Obviously, they end up winning the game. And Yost is told, like, you just lost yourself the Hall of Fame, which I think it comes full circle for him because that's obviously like all he cared about at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And now he cares about so much more than that. So he can kind of tell, like, he was a part of something great. They won, like, they're undefeated, but just because it's not his name attached as the coach doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right?
Agreed.
And I love this conversation he has with his daughter on the bleachers when she's like, I wanted the Hall of Fame real bad. And he has to kind of like explain to her, like, it's okay. Like, I just love that he has like a healthy conversation with her about it, doesn't put anyone down, doesn't, make her think like, oh, yeah, these like intangible things like Hall of Fame wins, like, or trophies, like, it doesn't matter,
Doesn't matter.
like it's not important in life. So I do love this moment for him and his daughter because I think it really just shows how much he cares for her and loves her. And then we have Boone going home to celebrate with his family. And this is where the neighborhood is kind of going crazy, cheering him on, that you were kind of talking about earlier. And then we also see where Gary wanted to go out and hang out with Julius, I think, and he ends up going out with his girlfriend. And, obviously says no to him for hanging out. Not like in a bad way, just, he wants to go spend time with his girl. And so Gary kind of goes for a drive by himself. He's driving through the town. Everyone's cheering. Everyone's happy. And then you have this jaw-dropping moment of him getting hit by a car, which I think is a bit predictable. I'm not going to lie. In that moment, it kind of is like, something bad's about to happen.
Even
like,
just from the camera angles.
Yeah. It's very typical movie shot of a car who's about to get hit.
Yeah.
But it's still, obviously, it's a horrible moment. And we flash, obviously, directly to the hospital. All the players, all the families, all the coaches. I mean, the whole hospital waiting room is just like filled to the brim with people.
Yeah.
And then Julius obviously finds out, comes in, and he's very upset. He's told that he is paralyzed from the waist down, which is really hard for him.
Tough.
Yeah, it's really, really brutal. This moment is probably like the hardest to watch in the film, but yeah, he feels really guilty because he did not agree to hang out with Gary after the game, obviously, like I just mentioned. But then Gary's mom comes up and tells him he doesn't want to see anyone but him.
Yeah. Oh.
So we have this really emotional conversation between them. And I love this when Julius ends up telling him, like, tell you what, when this is all over, we're going to move to the same neighborhood. We're going to get old, get fat, and there's not going to be any black, white between us. I just think that's such a special moment for their friendship where it's very like looking ahead to the future, which obviously is so heartbreaking for what we know the future is going to look like. Yeah. But, for the time being, they get to kind of fantasize about this life and their friendship that they're going to have together.
It's like
after all of this.
Like when he walks into the room and the nurse is like, only kin allowed in here. And he's like, aren't you blind? Don't you see the family resemblance? That's my brother.
Yeah, that line's really good.
That's so good.
Gary is kind of effortlessly funny.
Yeah, he is.
In a lot of moments. Obviously, I couldn't write them all down, but yeah, he has a lot of little like quip one-liners like that where he is pretty funny.
I just think that him and Julius together are hilarious. Like even at the camp where like Julius says something to someone and Gary's like, yeah, I agree, and Julius just turns and goes, you can shut up too. Like,
yeah, they're great.
They're awesome,
so that moment is really hard to watch, but it's very like authentic between them. It's very them. It's very like impactful for their friendship and what they've been through up until this point. So we kind of leave the hospital moments and we kind of end here with Yost trying to convince Boone that we need to sort of like slow down, refocus, like look what just happened to like one of our players. And Boone is just like in tunnel vision mode, like focus, like game win. Like he just wants to like end this with like the big final championship game.
Yeah.
And I think his way of dealing with pain is like really putting himself into his work and really just trying to focus. Whereas I think Yost is a bit more, like you said, a bit more human, a bit more emotional. I think he wants to kind of reset and like actually process what just happened. So even though they're kind of getting along and we see these characters develop, even towards the end of the movie, they're still just, they handle things so differently. And I think that's never going to change. They're always going to be different people. So I'll stop here because I only have one more section left and that's the end of the movie. But anything to add on these two sections, kind of how insane Gary's injury is after this big win. Like this is a big chunk of the movie. So if you have anything else to add.
I'm sure it's Hollywoodized of like his reaction to it, but his reaction being so humble about it, like all straight up, wouldn't have happened straight away. The day that he gets told paralyzed, he's like, I hear the Olympics, like, but
Yeah, no,
in
you would
the
not process it that quickly.
no way, but I do. I think that I agree with you. This is a part of the film that is very cliche, but it's also a part of the film that's like the catalyst for the final like coming together sort of thing, where like the team's together, but everyone around them is still kind of separated in a way. And like
Mhm.
whilst the mother is already warming up to Julius, her going up to him being like, you're the only one that he wants to talk to. I think is huge. Um, it is like very cliche the injury, but again, this is a true story, so there's only so much we can say about that.
Mhm.
But yeah, we've talked. Yeah, we've the game when was supposed to be fixed and Yost stepped in again. As we've said from the beginning of this, this shows that Yost is surrounded by people that are ingrained with this society, but he's different. He took this job knowing that he's working under Boone because he cares about this football team. He doesn't.
Mhm.
He's putting his legacy and himself behind the football team, which I think is very important for both his character and like the real life persona of Yost.
Mhm.
But I love that scene where he basically just takes over from Boone. He's just like, I got this. And he's like goes and talks to the refs, and I love that. But yeah, let's get into the end of the film.
All right, part 8,
What's it called?
The Unstoppable Titans.
10.5 out of 5. There you go. 10.5 out of 10. Sorry.
That
Oh.
was the hardest one for me to come up with. Um, okay, so we go into the final game of the season. I believe this is just called the state championship. I hope I don't have that wrong.
I think
But
that's right. Yeah, that is
yeah,
correct. Yeah.
final game. I love this moment where we have Louis coming up and telling Coach Boone that he finally got his grades up to C's.
It's adorable.
Like
Isn't
not
it?
even like grades to brag about, but he's just so happy that he's like doing well enough that he's like passing. This is a big moment for him because earlier, obviously, he shared how he wasn't good at school, he wasn't really good at anything. So this is a really pivotal moment for him, and just kind of feeling like he's doing well in life, and
Yeah.
he's finally kind of succeeding in something. So that's a great moment between them two. And then we see Gary obviously in the hospital. He's watching the final game, kind of cheering them on from the hospital bed.
I
The
love
most
those scenes.
unrealistic looking hospital room, by the way. As
Yeah.
someone who's been in a hospital room, doesn't look anything like that.
Yeah,
But
it's huge.
it's a movie set.
Yeah. But I love when the nurses come in. It's like, don't come in here.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But yeah, I like that his spirits are obviously up enough to where he can watch the game, and kind of like you were just saying, it's like it is a little unrealistic that he'd be so okay with everything so instantly, but it is still awesome that he's obviously trying to cheer them on and be supportive from where he
Yeah.
can
At
be.
the end of the day, it
Even
is
though
a
it's probably
Disney
really hard
movie.
for him.
It is a Disney movie.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we have that final locker room pep talk. This is, I think, at halftime of the game. We have this great moment after Boone tells them for the first time that it's not about winning and to just like essentially do their best. Kind of the opposite of what he's been saying the entire time.
Yeah.
And then we have Julius, I think it is Julius, that kind of stands up and says, like, you demanded more of us. You demanded perfection. We've won every single game we've played up until now. Like, this team is perfect. So they kind of have like understood the message now that he's been putting into them this entire time. And they're not willing to settle for anything but perfection.
Amen.
So they go back out, finish up the game. This is where we see Alan like tell Yost, like, you need to put PD in. Like, he is the better player. Way to go, Alan. We love Alan.
Alan!
Um, so we get PD to actually go into the game now. And then I think it's Rev who carries the final touchdown into the last few seconds of the game.
Because he's fucked up
And
his
then
shoulder, so he can't throw,
yes, he
so
was
he
the
can
one that
catch.
I think it was his wrist.
Or
That
wrist, yeah.
yeah,
Fucked
he
up
injured. I
something.
forgot to mention that earlier, but he injured his wrist.
Yep.
So he now has gotten to go into the game after that injury, and he carries that final touchdown, and they win, which is crazy. And then I don't want to not like make it seem like a big deal here, but I'm not going to spend too much time harping on the win. Like, it's awesome. Everyone is obviously losing their minds. It's insane that they went undefeated, obviously, the entire season. And then this is where we flash directly to like the older Cheryl, now that we know that's who that is, voiceover, explaining that how they went 13-0, perfect season, second best high school team in the country at the time.
13 weeks.
Crazy. So this is where we then flash back, and she says, sadly, 10 years later, Gary died after, oh my God, this is so horrible. After being hit by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
The sky's a magnet. for vehicles. It's horrible. And so we get them at the beginning of the movie. Now we're full circle back. They're walking into a funeral. We figure out that it is Gary's funeral, um, which is just this poor guy. It's extremely sad. I mean,
Yep.
considering it's a real person, like it's horrible either way. But just knowing that it was a real person is just even that much more heartbreaking.
He went on to win
Um,
gold though.
what?
He won gold in the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second,
Oh,
but
sorry.
no, not the gold specifically, but I just mean the ending where we get to
Yeah.
see all the futures of everybody. But I love how the guys end it with the na na na
Yeah.
na, hey hey hey,
Goodbye.
goodbye. Yeah, that's really really sweet. I think that's a perfect way to kind of all come together at the service and kind of that big like look where we've kind of made it to moment after everything that they've been through and where they started. And that's where we end the movie. And racism solved forever, right?
Done. It'll never be a problem ever again.
Never, never again.
Never.
And it's 2024, right? No, in all seriousness, this movie obviously has a very sad ending. But we do get to see a little bit into what all these characters have been up to after this moment. And obviously they go through kind of what they did up until 1981. So we kind of get to see from the game, the winning, all the way through to where we're at the funeral, what they've been up to for 10 years. So give me your thoughts on the ending chunk of the film here. Any favorite moments, scenes, lines, and then what do you think about like learning more about the real true facts and what they could kind of show us at the end there.
You'll always be a Hall of Famer to me. Yeah, it's great. The ending's awesome. The last play is like, it's classic sports movie where it's like the
Mm-hmm.
last play is like goosebumps and everything.
Yep.
Or like they just give it to Rev and then they got the three boys protecting him, like just shoulder charging everyone. I love it. It's great. It's good to see from all aspects of like what's happening on the sideline, what's happening on the field, what's happening in the stands, and then what's happening in the hospital. But every person in that town just wants these boys to succeed. It's awesome to see. And then going to the you said everything perfectly about the funeral. It's completely heartbreaking about what happened to Gary, because at first you're like, oh, he died, it must have been like a health thing, but then you do realize that like he's got hit by a drunk driver. You're like, that's horrible to think about. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that like majority of these boys didn't go on to play professional football.
Mm-hmm.
This is just like, that's kind of why this movie isn't about football. This isn't about them succeeding in life and becoming the best players ever. It's like, no, this is them succeeding in life and becoming the best boys ever, best guys ever. Um, which I think is kind of what was the main. That's kind of like what Yost and Boone are kind of intertwining,
Mm-hmm.
because Boone wants them to win. Yost wants them to be the best, like to like win in life. But then like the integration between both is kind of exactly what ended up happening. But I love this movie. I think this movie's great. I used to always give this like a 9 out of 10. I'm dropping it to an 8. I think it's a great movie. I do think there's elements of it that are a bit too cliche for me nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not a super negative point. At the end of the day, this is a Disney movie, and for this to be a live action Disney movie, it's one of the best. Yeah, I'll always watch this. This is like such a weird comfort movie for me that I'll always, yeah, it's a weird one, because I agree, like there's moments that like are horrifically sad, but it's a very uplifting film that like I'll show to my nephews and everything like that. What about
Nice.
yourself?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that it has like some great moments. I think in this last chunk, especially, I love that final like locker room pep talk and kind of like the reverse where it's like the boys are finally kind of like the ones being like, we're gonna motivate ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
no, you demanded more. Like, we're gonna be perfect. So I do love how far so many of them have come, and yeah, I love that final choice of like having them all sing that little goodbye to him at the funeral. So great ending. But as far as the movie as a whole, I think you said so many things perfectly, but I really enjoy the most like seeing the progression of obviously the players and like them as people. But then obviously I do enjoy kind of the combativeness turning into a success between Yost and Boone. I think it's really special. And I think it's a very realistic representation of how a situation like that would go. And I think it's very realistic as far as representing different types of adult influences in your life when you're growing up, like different, coaches or mentors or someone you might encounter, like how they have different approaches and the way that they try to motivate you. I think that is very realistic. And I love the relationship with his daughter.
Amen.
But I'm not a football fanatic. I'm not a sports person. I can't get too into this movie because there's just too many sports cliches, too much Disney, um, too many things that are just like, okay, come on, you guys really. But it's like I know it's a true story, so then I feel guilty for like giving it so much shit. I love this director actually. He did Uptown Girls, which is one of my favorite movies
Oh,
of all
awesome! I love
time.
Uptown Girls.
Yeah, and so like I like his style. Like I actually like how it was directed. I like the structure of the movie, like starting where we start and then coming back like to the funeral. I like all of the like the movie aspects in that sense. I do like. But I think it's a bit too long for my taste for this type of movie, and I just think too many things are too cliche.
Yeah, fair
So I
enough.
did give it a 3.5, but I still enjoyed my time with it. I definitely think it's still a good movie, and I think at the core, it's really trying to spread a good message. So I
Yep,
think it's an important one. I think it's great that we got this when we were kids. I'm glad I've watched it, but I don't see myself like rewatching it or anything like that anytime soon.
that's fair enough.
So
Nice.
yeah, that is what we think of Remember the Titans. So with that,
Strong side.
yeah, we can move into our games of the episode, Harry. So
Amen.
we got two. First, we'll do guess the cast again since I killed it last
Yeah.
time.
Guess the Cast has now
Uh,
become a fan favorite, where we're getting Ash to putting her against the sword against everyone that could be playing along at home. Again, Guess the Cast. I've got 5 films. We're going to go through film by film. 5 points are up for grabs for each film. I'm going to name one cast member. If you get on the first cast member, you get 5 points. If you get on the fifth cast member, you get 1 point. You get the gist. You're not stupid. So play along at home and message us on all of our socials or all the postings of what your score was and if you've beaten Ash. Because last week was a tough one for you guys because she nailed it. So first film, Ash. Let's get to it. For 5 points, Ash. Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh. We love Michelle
um,
Yeoh over here. Fan of the
I
show.
do. I
Fan of
love
the
her.
show. We've had her.
Sunshine?
Yep,
Are
Sunshine. Sunshine.
you serious?
Yeah, it is.
It's like the only movie I've seen with her besides Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Damn it! I thought that was gonna be a hard one. Yeah, I was gonna go Michelle Yeoh, then Mark Strong, then Benedict Wong, then Chris Evans, and Cillian Murphy. 5 out of
Funny
5
enough,
so
if you would have
far.
said Mark Strong first, I probably wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're off to a blinder right now. So film number 2, Ash. All right, you're off to a blinder. Let's not
Give
get
me a hard one, Harry. Come on.
let's not get your head into the clouds. All right, all right. Let's ground her. For
Okay.
5 points, Ash. Elijah Wood.
Hmm.
Elijah Wood.
Okay. Elijah Wood.
Mm.
Obviously, it's not the clear cut one that I'm thinking. Elijah Wood. I'm like picturing Elijah Wood in a specific outfit, and I'm like, what movie am I thinking
He
of?
does. I'll clue. He does wear clothes in this film.
Great.
Yeah,
Great. Thanks for confirming that.
yeah.
I don't know if he's been like in a rom-com or something. I don't know why this is coming to my mind. No, wait, that's Daniel Radcliffe. I think that's in that.
I know the one you're thinking of. Yeah, that's a
I
good
feel like
movie.
I'm thinking of like a magician movie, and I don't think that's the right thing to be thinking of.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna say it anyways, even though I know it's not right. I was thinking of Now You See Me Too.
Yeah, no. For 4 points, Ash, you got Elijah Wood and Benicio del Toro. Yeah, you were also thinking of Daniel Radcliffe for Now You See Me Too.
Yeah, I knew I was. I just had to say something to
Yeah.
not just sit here and take too much time.
Okay.
Benicio del Toro. Oh, what is he in? He's in the French Dispatch, but I don't think Elijah Wood is in that. Is he in that? Is he in that movie? I feel like this could be an animated movie, and I feel like I fucking hate those, so I can't even like think right now. Okay, I'll just say the French Dispatch, even though I don't think that's right.
Incorrect. For 3 points, Elijah Wood, Benicio del Toro, Clive Owen. Clive Owen. We love
I'm
Clive Owen.
drawing the biggest blank right now.
Another fan of the show. We've had him on a few times.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, I have absolutely nothing. Um, I don't know my Elijah Wood movies apparently.
I'm glad you got 5 for the first one. We
Yeah, me
got
too. I got nothing, Harry. I got absolutely nothing.
for 2 points, Elijah Wood, Benicio del Toro, Clive Owen, Jessica Alba.
What
Hmm.
the fuck is this movie?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's either
Yeah.
animated. Oh wait, is it Sin City?
It is Sin City. You got it.
Wait,
Nice.
Elijah Wood is in that?
Yeah, he's the creepy guy that he
Oh my
hunts.
God, you're right. I've not seen that movie in like 8 years. Oh
So
my God, I
for
wouldn't have
the
gotten that until Jessica Alba, anyways.
well done for the 1 point, I would have said Bruce
Jesus.
Willis. So that would
Okay.
have given it away. For three, sorry, for movie number 3 for 5 points, Jared Leto. Jared Leto. Jared Leto.
Mm,
Hmm. I'll give you a clue.
mm,
It's not the documentary about his weird island.
shit. What about I'm either
Jared
gonna
Leto.
go, I'm thinking American Psycho or I'm thinking Requiem for a Dream. But I feel like he's
Hmm.
like the main character in that. So or it could be Dallas Buyers Club.
Mm, yeah, yeah. So those are all three
I think he
movies.
is. I don't know how like high up in the cast list he would be for American Psycho.
Just looked up
Okay, I'm gonna
IMDb for
go with
all three
Dallas
of
Buyers
them.
Club.
Incorrect. For 4 points, you got Jared Leto. You got Meatloaf. Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. Okay,
Remember
I've
him?
seen this movie.
Yes. Yes, you have. You'll probably get it on the next one, to be honest. If you don't get it here. Jared Leto.
I don't fucking know.
Bat out of hell. Meatloaf.
Give me the third one.
3 points. You got Jared Leto, Meatloaf, Helena Bonham Carter. You'll definitely get it on the next one.
Wait, I am like, I don't know why my mind's going to Fight Club.
So you guess?
Yeah.
Correct. It is
Oh
Fight Club.
shit. Wait, I'm like blanking on Jared Leto. I can like picture him now, but
You know Jared Leto, Morbius.
no,
but
I'm saying in the movie.
yeah, he's one of the he's one of the followers. He's like one of the disciples. He's with blonde
Oh
hair,
my gosh, he is.
and
He's
so is
young.
and
He's young
Meatloaf
in that movie.
is Fat Bob.
Oh my God, he is.
Yeah,
Holy shit!
there you
Wow.
go. Well, you're
Wow.
not going badly at all. So
Okay.
yeah, okay. Movie number 4 for 5 points. Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith. Um.
Lakeith.
Hmm. Okay, we got Lakeith Stanfield. What do we have him in? We have him in Knives Out. We have him in Get Out. We have him in. I don't think you would give me that Haunted Mansion movie because I haven't seen it.
Confirming those are 3 movies that you've now named here.
Is he also in Straight Outta Compton? Um, I feel like you would not give me Knives Out. I feel like that's too obvious.
Hmm.
Stressing Harry.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna say Knives Out.
Correct for 5 points.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
four
I don't know
points
why
was.
I keep thinking you're Tyler and you're like purposely trying to trick me.
Nah, nah.
So
I'm a nice guy. You know, I'm a nice. Not that Tyler's not. Tyler, you're a sweetheart.
you
We
heard it
love
here
you.
first, Tyler.
But I'm not trying to fuck you up here.
All right,
Tony
all right.
Collette, then Jamie Lee Curtis, then Chris Evans, and Daniel Craig. And for the 5th and final movie for 5 points, Ash, Ty Burrell. I'm pretty sure you've seen this movie.
The guy from the Fast and Furious movies.
No.
Oh, wait. I might need a photo.
Yeah, I'm gonna. We've got to say you got to phone the friend, but you haven't.
I like
it
think
yet.
I know who he is. I just need to confirm that
You
it's who
you would
he is.
definitely know who he is.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It
Has
is.
to phone a photo. Oh my God, I had the totally wrong person in my brain. That's
Yeah.
the dad from Modern Family.
Yeah, the dad from Modern Family.
Okay. He's in a movie I've seen. Okay.
Wait, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. I kind of just guessed that you saw this one, to be honest.
Yeah, please double check
Yeah, I'm double
because
checking now.
Hmm.
Yikes! It doesn't look like you've rated it. We'll see. Ty Burrell.
Audience, you hear it here first. Harry
Yeah.
is cheating. I honestly can't think of a single movie he's been in. I'm sorry. I
For
got
4
nothing.
points, Ty Burrell and Bruce Greenwood.
Who?
We're gonna bring up. Is this your second one? Bruce.
That is a name that I do not know.
You definitely know Bruce Greenwood. He's been in so much.
Okay.
Trying to. Let me lower my brightness on my phone. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't see that.
You know Bruce Greenwood.
Oh, okay. Oh. He's the dad in something. What is he the dad in?
If you haven't seen this film, you're watching this tonight, putting this out
What is
there.
he the dad in? Is he the I feel like he's in Wedding Crashers, but I don't think that's right.
Hmm.
Um He's the dad. I feel like he's rich in the movie. Oh, God, I'm blanking so hard right now. I don't have it.
I,
I'm just gonna say Wedding Crashers. I know it's not
I
right.
pray that you've seen this. For 3 points, Ty Burrell, Bruce Greenwood, John Voight.
Oh my God, Harry. Why are you so obsessed with doing John Voight movies against me?
He's a good man. He's a really
I
good
don't
dude.
think I know what movie you're talking about. I've logged it but haven't rated it. I might have incorrectly logged it.
Nah, you haven't logged it. That's my point.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a John
I
Voight
just
movie with
assumed
those
that you
guys.
saw this. My bad.
It's okay.
For 2 points, Ty Burrell, Bruce Greenwood, John Voight, Ed Harris.
Oh, Ed Harris. Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
All I can think about is Westworld.
It's not Westworld.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I just don't want to take up time with
Nah,
not
nah.
knowing.
For
I got
one
nothing.
for 1 point, Ty Burrell, Bruce Greenwood, John Voight, Ed Harris, Nicolas Cage. Think of
Of
movies.
course, you threw a Nick Cage movie at me.
Well, think of movies that Nick Cage and John Voight are in.
National Treasure 2?
Correct for 1 point.
I literally haven't probably seen that since it came out. I probably saw it one time in my entire life.
It's a hell of a film. It's probably the best sequel of
I
all
should have
time.
known you would do the second one.
Yeah,
You
when I
said
said
John
John
Voight.
Voight, and you're like, why are you
I
giving
should
me
have
another
just guessed
one?
it.
I was
I
like,
didn't think that you would do the second National Treasure when you just did the first
so
one.
Ty Burrell plays the pseudo boyfriend of Benjamin Gates' ex-wife. Bruce Greenwood is the president. John Voight is John Voight in it, and Ed Harris is the villain in the film.
Got it. Well, I feel like you shouldn't count that movie towards my final score because that's not fair.
I'm gonna. So you got 10, 11, 14, 16. Really good. Well done. Well done, Ash.
No way I got just 1 point less than last time. There's no way.
Well, you got two
Really?
5 out of 5s last week as well.
Oh,
That's
shit.
really, you still got two on the perfect side.
You're right.
You
You're
getting
right.
sunshine from Michelle Yeoh is nuts.
Well, I'm just that good. What can I say?
Yeah, to watch.
All right.
Watch
Well,
Book of
that is
Secrets
Guess the
again.
Cast. It's always so much fun. I'm just practicing for whenever I finally get on the trivia 10
It's
with Tyler.
also not called National Treasure 2. It's National Treasure Book of Secrets. But I gave it to you anyway, out of the kindness of my heart. You know, it's
Do you guys hear this guy? You see what I have to deal with? Okay. Well, we have one more fun little game that we are going to go through, and we are going to be drafting Disney movies. The rules are that it needs to be a Walt Disney Pictures live action or animation or a Pixar movie, but we are not doing
no
Marvel,
Fox.
Star
Yeah,
Wars, everything that they've acquired because that's just way too many movies. So
correct.
we'll go through this quickly. We got 10 each, so we'll just go back and forth, one and one, back and forth. And Harry, you are going first.
You think you know what I'm going to go first, but I'm going to go
I do.
the best Pixar film, which is Coco.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite Pixar movie. How
It's
dare you?
well, you got good taste, Ash. Eh? I wanted it to go first. I think it deserved to go first, so in a way that you should thank me.
I could take your favorite movie of all time here, but I'm not gonna because
You're
I'm a
good.
nice
You're a
person.
good person.
And I'm gonna take probably my favorite movie that Disney has ever put out when I was like a kid, and even still, it's a favorite, and that is The Lion King.
Yeah, I was already typing the Lion King. Nice one. That had to go.
Yeah.
All right, how nice are you gonna be to me? That's my point here. I'm just gonna take it now because you just never know. I'm gonna take number 2. I'm gonna take National Treasure.
Good call.
Yeah. Would you have taken it early? You reckon? Just
I probably would have.
just for a little bit of
take
just,
it. If you didn't take it by like round 3, I probably would have tried.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
But not on second round. Okay. I am going to take probably another. Oh, wait. I'm going to take an OG one from childhood that I know you're going to be upset, but I'm going to take the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, I had that going next anyway. Oh, I almost put it on my list. Yikes. The Mighty Ducks. It's a great one. Well done. Okay, there's 2 on the board that I'm going to be furious if I don't get it. But can I leave them a little bit? That's the risk with this sort of shit, is if you can leave them. I'm going to go... This might be a bit too high. No, it's not. I'm going to go The Emperor's New Groove.
Nice. Dang, I love that movie.
I love it.
Nice. Okay. God, there's so many that I want to make. Yeah, I have to take this one. A Goofy movie.
Yes, yeah, that was
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
Eye to Eye? Are you kidding me?
yeah, yeah. Well done. That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go. I want to go a bit more live action. So if I've got two animated, one live action, I'm gonna go Pirates of the Caribbean,
Nice.
the
I
original,
was thinking
the
about
first
that
one.
as well. Yeah, yeah, I figured. Yeah, I had that on my list as well. I just not as big of a Pirates person, but it's definitely one of the better live action ones they've
Dun,
done.
dun, 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 dun.
Okay. I don't have not many live action movies because I just think that their animation is so solid.
Yeah, it's a Disney anime. Yeah,
Um,
it's Disney. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna continue with another animated, take Inside Out because it's
Nice.
one of my favorites.
Are you excited for the sequel?
Yeah, I am excited. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, so am I. I think it's gonna be great. Well, I'm gonna join you in the Pixar realm. I'm gonna go Ratatouille.
Nice. Yeah, I don't love that one as much as other people, but I still think it's really good.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. Okay. Um, I gotta get some live action in here. I have to have more than just the Mighty Ducks. This isn't like a personal favorite, but I think that it's really iconic for what it was. And I think it'll be interesting to see the second one, but I'm
Oh,
gonna take Tron Legacy. I
whoa,
know, a
that's
little bit of a wild
wild.
card pick, but I think it's a really cool movie. I always really liked it, and I don't love it like some people do, but I also don't hate it. Like I think it's a cool movie.
Wow, I didn't even have that on my list.
Really?
Yeah,
I think
interesting.
it's good.
I like.
You're
That's a
trying to
good
get,
pick.
some different eras of Disney. You can't just get the 90s and
Oh, amen.
early 2000s. So,
Well, I'm also gonna go towards like a live action, and I think this is an iconic Disney film, High School Musical.
hmm,
Hmm.
hmm. Nice. I don't really get into the High School Musical movies like I did when I was like 13 as
Neither do
much
I, but
anymore, but
they're a craze. That was like a cultural
they are.
phenomenon.
They are cult. People like the second one better than the first one, apparently.
Damn.
Should have told you that, but I'm not gonna
I'm
pick
not
them because
doing.
I
I'm
just
not.
don't like them that much. But
I'm not doing sequels on this, to be honest.
but yeah, nice pull, Harry. I wasn't expecting that from you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take another one of my absolute favorites because Phil Collins is the GOAT, and I'm gonna take Tarzan.
Oh, I love that pick. That's awesome. Oh, well done.
All right. So back to you for your seventh pick.
Well, I'm gonna go more towards animated again because I don't have any classic Disney animated. I'm gonna go with one of my favorites, which is Aladdin.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, I definitely like that one more than some of the other like princess quote unquote movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I've got one more animated that I just want to make sure I get that I don't want you to get. So I'm gonna take Monsters Inc.
Damn
because
it.
I'm favorite for a long time.
Well done. Well done. Monsters Inc. Eh?
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go. Oh, okay. There's. I want that, and I want that. I definitely want that though. Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna go Toy Story 3.
Nice. Yeah. I'm not as much of a fan of that one as other people are. So
Yeah, I like. I'd probably pick Toy Story 2 over it, but still epic trilogy.
yeah. Okay. Well, I do want to get more live action in there. So I'm gonna take a fun one from my childhood that just
Please don't say it.
remains iconic, and I'm gonna take Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes. Oh, I love that movie though.
So good.
I love that movie. Okay,
We
well,
love Rick Moranis.
I'm not gonna play with the devil anymore. I'm gonna take Holes.
Okay, I was
I
wondering what this movie that you like really needed to
I
get was.
love Holes, man. Stanley Yelnats, hell yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that you love that movie. I
I
need to
lo-
rewatch it to really like see my opinions on it. I couldn't get into it very much when I was younger.
Holes rules, man. Oh yeah,
Okay, so that was your ninth pick?
that was my ninth. So you got 9 and 10.
Okay.
I've got 10.
Okay. So for my ninth pick, I'm taking one that is a bit more of a hidden gem, but I have been obsessed with this movie since I was younger, and that is Meet the Robinsons.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Such an underrated one.
Nice. I thought you were gonna go another live action.
My last one's going to be live action.
See,
All right.
there's three that I think that you're gonna take, and I don't want to snake one. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go in animation, you know, because I'm a good person.
Okay. If you say so.
I'm gonna go. Oh, maybe I don't. No. Yeah. I'm gonna go Lilo and Stitch.
Nice. Classic.
I was
Great
between one of
movie.
two. I'll tell you the other one after you pick yours.
All right, my final pick, not that it deserves to be a 10th round pick, but I think this is the one I want to have on my list. And it's the most iconic one from my childhood that is in the live action
Writing it
sphere, and
down.
that is The Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
The Lindsay Lohan version,
Yeah, of course.
obviously.
I was thinking you're either between Parent Trap, Princess Diary, and Freaky Friday. Was my
That's exactly what I was between. I don't know. I just rewatched Freaky Friday. Honestly, doesn't hold up as well for
I saw
me.
it last year
I like
again.
Princess
Agreed.
Diaries better.
Yeah, it's great. I was
All right.
between Lilo and Stitch and Treasure Planet. I love
Treasure
Treasure
Planet's
Planet.
so good.
Yeah, I love Treasure
Great.
Planet.
Okay, you want to run us through the list one more time?
Sure. So me, myself, Harry. I had Coco, National Treasure. Already game over right there, right, guys? Emperor's New Groove, Pirates of the Caribbean, Ratatouille, High School Musical, Aladdin, Toy Story 3, Holes, Lilo and Stitch. Ash vs. Movies, had the Lion King, The Mighty Ducks, a Goofy Movie, Inside Out, Tron Legacy, which is a wild pick, Ash. Tarzan,
I stand by
Monsters.
it.
I respect that. Monsters Inc. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, great fucking pick. Meet the Robinsons and The Parent Trap. I think both are epic
Great
lists.
list. Great list. Great list all around.
Amen.
All right. Well, that is our Disney movie draft, and that wraps up this episode. So please follow us on everything. Thank you so much for listening. And next week, we have a very fun episode planned with a special guest that we will announce at a later time. But we are going to be watching Talladega Nights, a Ricky Bobby story. I'm totally butchering the full name of that movie, but
The
you guys
Ballad
know
of
the
Ricky
one.
Bobby.
Yeah. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Great comedy movie. We love Adam McKay here. So very excited to do this movie next week. So look out for that. But follow us on everything, TikTok while you can, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everything. And we will see you at the movies.